Question is, we're right at that same window, right? So how do we not make that happen again?
I don't think there's any way to not make it happen. If
Really?
you're asking me, I mean, we prepare for it. I mean, my people, we're preparing for it.
What, just because you
Just
got
like
guns,
foundation.
guns
No,
and
no,
no.
no. Just like foundation, we're like a priesthood who's preparing. It's gonna, instead of being 1,000 years of darkness,
Right.
hopefully maybe it can just be 30.
Well, it won't even, it'll because see,
But we can't stop just like a foundation, we can't stop the collapse.
well, they're
But we
different,
can make it a lot shorter,
right?
and prepare people to be able to be leaders or servants to help the community get
Yeah,
back on
but
its
see,
feet
so
faster.
you just hit the key point. It is community that fixes this, and our financial, economic, industrial, technological, spiritual dynamic that's going on now is killing community.
Sure.
And so how do you build
People does
community?
not talk to
How do you build community within that rot?
not without some draconian things. You'd have to be. How does Singapore do it? They force every building is segregated. They have like 4 ethnic groups. Every community apartment building is one quarter. Every school is one quarter. You have to force it. Otherwise, the natural thing is.
But they also had to carrot because people were like living in their squalor, and they said, "Hey, here, you can live in this nice apartment. Your kid's going to get a really good education.
Right.
Grandma's going to have health care, and we're doing it tomorrow."
Right. So
And by doing all that, they made a tremendous amount of money because all the people who needed to be employed to do all of that, blah blah
well,
blah.
it's a modern miracle.
Right.
But it's authoritarian.
But
But a good authoritarian.
Right, right.
But it's always that danger is it can turn. So I don't.
so how do
So
how
the
do,
tools I would need to do what you say
Right.
are something that I will not pick up that tool to do it. Morally, we can't. We believe in non-aggression, not non-initiation.
Yeah, but when those guys, when Singapore did that, they were not aggressive. They weren't like what they did in Venezuela. They basically said, "Okay,
well, it
guys."
got people to buy in.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yes, but they gave them a
But
big
it kind of because they
carrot.
felt like that because they're an island.
Right.
It's just us. There's no one coming to help us.
Right.
We've got to work this out.
Yeah.
Just like we've heard these stories about even in the rural South when there's a flood or whatever. Well, suddenly when everyone's a nigger, they get together.
Right.
And then when the things subside, they look at each other and say, "You go back across your track, and I go back to mine," and act like
So
it
my
didn't happen. Act
my
like they were
my three
brothers helping each other.
right my three rural neck of the woods. Right. I've been in all these three places now 20 years or so. Not all the time, but enough where they know. Like I go have breakfast at the same place where all the farmers go. So I know all these people. Right. And man, especially in my place in Tennessee, when I paid for all those kids to stay in high school, boy, that everybody was blown away. I mean, every time I go into a bank or a store, I mean, I can't, especially a coffee
Did
shop.
anyone say your money's no good here?
Yes, virtually
Your
every.
money's no good here.
Well, right now I have no money, so there. The joke is that I paid it forward.
We'll put it on your tab.
Yes, exactly. So, plus, I go into a coffee shop or a restaurant, one of those places. Everybody knows that I do this, right? So they also know that I can read their palm and give them advice about this, that, and the other thing. So it's like they can't afford a shrink, they can't even afford a doctor. So, so I have that, but everyone, and if you were to drive through, or anybody bourgeois would drive through my neighborhood, because they would say these people are that basket of deplorables, that.
Not me.
But no, I'm saying, but bourgeois people like Hillary Clinton,
Okay.
right? And she did it on purpose, meaning everything she did was to lose. She got paid to let, Mr. Trump win. She didn't want to be president,
Apparently, neither of them did.
No.
Who knows? I don't know.
But anyway,
I'm confident Donald didn't.
no, he thought it was
Such a pain in the ass.
right.
It's not worth it.
No, it
He
isn't.
just wants publicity.
Right, right.
And a business connection.
You know why he did this? Because he was still doing The Apprentice,
Yeah, he wanted to
and
do the education.
NBC cut him on his thing and paid some woman higher. I forgot what show. She was getting more money. So he said, "Well, screw this. I'm going to show them up. I'm going to run for president."
Gillette is the only one that's written a full. That he knows him.
Right.
He's been on the press.
Right.
One of them.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
He wrote it. Believe it or not.
Right.
I know, Donald, I was there.
Right.
This is exactly what happened. And
Right.
He tells in detail.
Right.
There was a
What-
negotiation
right.
thing that went wrong, and when he did the escalator thing, he didn't anticipate they
Right.
would get so pissed they would fire and cancel the show.
Right.
Or fire him from the show.
Right.
He thought they would pay him more money.
Right,
He
right.
didn't know that the next day we're going to say we're cutting time.
Right, and that's when he
So
said.
then he said, well, I got to do this for real.
But not only that, what it was that he had already paid for 2 halls to kick off. He did the escalator thing, and then he was going to have 2, whatever they call those things. And he had such a rush because, he was expecting, I don't know, 1,500, and 10,000, 15,000 people showed up, and they were just like, it was like crack cocaine,
But
that
see, at the
adulation.
press, you can see them just seething every time he does one of these rallies. And you can almost see the energy flow from the people to him.
Right.
You can almost see it.
Yes.
And the press is finally picking up on it.
No, but
and they realize that
the
they don't
press,
have anyone like that.
No, but the press knew that. See, NBC, all of those news networks gave him billions of dollars of free coverage
They made
because
more money.
they made more.
It
Yes,
was
yes.
the best thing that ever happened.
Oh, they were like about to go bankrupt, and now they're like, the only thing
ratings.
keeping GE alive is NBC, and so and they have nobody watching their shows at night, but everyone's watching NBC and CNBC and this, that, and the other thing, and all the people who are on those shows are entertainers.
Well, they're not intelligent.
Right.
Here's
They're reading a script. They're reading a
but when I have a
teleprompter.
tough time getting people because if someone is like one of my 70-year-old friend, in computer literate, all these forces will come to that stupid boob tube, and it's killing me because listen, I mean, because to have a conversation, I've got to spend the first 30 minutes
Explaining
what's
it.
going
Right,
on
right.
before we can even discuss it.
That's why I love
And
my
you gotta
neighborhoods.
understand it, he's just fed
Right.
malarkey to get him riled up.
Because where I live in each of those 3 places, people are so poor, there is no cell towers. There is no cable TV. In 2 of those neighborhoods, they are what are known as sawtooth mountains. So if they were lumpy mountains like this, the TV and radio waves go over. I get no TV. I get nothing over the airwaves except late at night off the skip.
Okay.
I get things from Chicago and St. Louis and Boston and Ireland and Mexico off the skip on AM. But other than that, nothing. So the people there, you can have a real conversation with because they're not, ideological.
Polarized by the
Yeah,
media.
and not at all.
Yeah, but so here's the thing.
Which shows that the media is the thing
It's
that's polarizing.
Absolutely.
And that it's not representing
Right.
anything.
That's like one of my redneck friends he's falling for all this NFL kneeling thing. And
Right.
I said, have you said, before you're going to condemn someone, have you had a sit down with a beer or
Right.
chocolate or tea
Right.
and talk to one of them and find out what their
Right.
actual agenda is?
Yeah.
So you can't trust Fox News to tell you what their agenda is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because here's what I did. I pulled in my thing. I said, let's look at this. And I said, let's see here.
So what is the
It's an Army Ranger getting some commendation from the
Mattis?
joint chief.
Yeah.
Had an army or whatever. I said,
Right.
see this guy?
Yep.
This is a guy that asked Colin Kaepernick to kneel.
Right. Yes.
So I said, so you whites are just gonna, no matter what he does.
Right.
So an Army Ranger decorated.
Right.
He's the one that asked him to kneel.
Right. Instead of
So
sitting.
I'm trying to
Instead of
say-
sitting.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's like, so this is far more complicated.
Right.
Than Hannity's ever gonna tell you.
Exactly.
And,
Yep.
I think because his face lit up and I could see him having a thing.
Right.
A little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because I point out this other picture of him. He's a gun nut.
Right.
Second Amendment. All
Yep,
these
yep,
times.
yep,
He's
yep,
one
yep.
of us when you kneel. So who are you really?
Right.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep.
Anyway.
And that's America. It's way more complicated than the media. You see, the media is only about the money, the advertising dollar. So they're making it into, Roseanne.
algorithms-
It's just Roseanne. That's our news.
Well, the algorithms feed you more and more extreme things.
Right.
Because it makes you click again.
Right.
But anyway,
And what's interesting on my little machine here is that I'm so diverse all over the place. It's like having a nervous break.
Algorithm, yeah,
Right. It's like,
Because I watch the Young Turks. It's probably the biggest of the alternate
Oh,
left
right.
sites, and I watch them religiously, and it just can't figure out what I am.
How about Ring of Fire? Do you watch that at
I'm
all?
not familiar with that.
Or
I like Jimmy Dore. Remember
yeah,
him?
yeah.
I like him. I wish he would come around to the libertarian wing.
He's just Jimmy.
I know, but that's the thing. You're forced to choose.
Right. I
There's
don't.
no media.
I look at everybody. I don't choose.
No, but anyone who wants to be on this has to basically
Go along with.
he has to choose
Right.
left media or right media as their main.
Right.
No other alternative.
Or start their own channel. That's the beauty of this technology. You can start your own thing.
But the thing is, I've been, I think we're at peak podcast now. I'm calling that, but it's such a wonderful. Direct Sam Harris, no filter. When he goes on these shows, you might get 20 seconds before someone jumps down his throat or interrupts or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a podcast, I don't know, maybe once a week, long form interviews. Joe Rogan,
Yeah.
3 hours
Yeah.
interviewing people. It's
Yeah.
lovely.
Yep.
I don't spend the whole thing, it may take me a
Right.
week to listen to it,
Right,
or whatever,
right.
but I can hear them in their own words.
Right.
And this long interview form.
Well,
blows
that's-
away me. So I don't even need the stupid media to cut people off or whatever.
Well, that's so he's one of the only guys who does that because the other alternative media are becoming more and more like NBC and Fox because they try to slot their little sections into a time thing that works for the commercial, so they make more money.
Right. Like.
I mean, that's the Young Turks. That's Young
Roseanne
Turks do
just did
that.
a 3-hour thing
Right.
with Rogan last week or whatever. And
Yep.
I'm probably halfway through it. But if
Yep.
you want to know where she's coming from, her
Right.
history or whatever, and I'm learning things I never learned.
Right.
So I didn't even know she was a Jew.
Right.
Who even knew that? She was one of the most, literally, when she came to Hollywood, she said, I want a black agent, whatever. One of the most pro
Right.
that's ever in the history of Hollywood.
Right. And that's why she had all
The
these
fact they're calling
friends.
her some
And then when
racist-
she
you don't
did that,
even- No,
right,
you're
right,
talking about the wrong person.
right, exactly.
I mean, she's
Right.
it's just it's so sad the way they've gotten to beat up on her.
Because meaning she's the next subject to beat up on. It's all about monetization. It's all about entertainment. It's not about news. It's not about truth. Not about information. It's about entertainment. Entertainment connected to a belief structure, yours, that the algorithm is reading. This is what he believes.
Right.
And so I'm going to just feed him this right in his vein and make it convenient.
Yeah. So when I want to do stuff that's could get me on a list, I lost my VPN. I go incognito, launch my VPN, use an alternative, and
When I want to get on some list. Oh, like I said, I just confuse those poor algorithms. But
some of the best conversation that we're having, I feel sorry for them now because the whole model is. I can't even explain how anyone ever sold this model. I asked someone, so why is what's your name on? Why is she on the television? Because she looks good.
right,
So Sam Harris is one of our brightest public intellectuals.
right.
Why should I hear her
Over
talking
him.
to him?
Right.
No, talking to him.
Right.
She didn't even know what question.
Right.
Maybe I want Jordan Peterson
Right.
and Sam Harris. They go on tour together.
Well, that's Fox.
Long form, they spend 3 hours on stage.
Fox
with
and
high-level
Friends.
discussions, and it's thrilling. It's riveting.
Fox and Friends,
supposed to
which
have
has
some
more
buffoons.
power, right?
Apparently, they have
Right.
Hannity's running.
Right.
Hannity's like Rasputin. Did you
Right,
know
right,
that?
exactly.
Literally.
Yes, but
Hannity's producer, who
Right.
got fired from Fox News, is now Trump's communications
Right,
director.
exactly.
Hannity is literally.
the real question
God
is
help us.
who's Hannity's string? Because
know.
the real powers that be are so behind the curtain.
Yeah, I don't
You know, I mean, it's not the Illuminati. It's not Rothschild. Those guys are just sock puppets. Anybody who you can see, they're not in power.
Well, I think I trust Joe. He's legit.
Yeah, because he's like me. I have a real solid, amazing following, and the way it works is, so I put on these things, and I do live chats because they're way easier than trying to edit something, and I'm never in a place that has wide enough bandwidth. But live chat, you can do it out of if it has Wi-Fi, you can do it, right? It just kind of goes down to the lowest common denominator. Who cares that the image looks right?
Pixelated, whatever.
But anyway, and I can't read what the people are saying, but so I tell them, the screen is so small I can't see it. I'm half blind.
Yeah.
So get back. I will read your comments get back to me on my Gmail. I got a Gmail account. It's called the Dude Awake at 42 Gmail. So bottom line is they come back and I have amazing conversations, and then the people who really want to change something will, contact me on the phone and we'll have a real conversation.
Like I read something from some liberal pundit. He said he walked into his son's room and he was watching Jordan Peterson videos, and he's like shocked and devastated and said, "Where have I gone? Yeah, you've gone wrong
Right.
because boys, men, just like women,
Right.
who have needs,
Right.
and you're not meeting them. Your liberal cop shop isn't meeting your basic needs, and that's why a demagogue is going
Right.
to come around who's going to meet these needs
And take it away.
Trump is just
Yep.
he's.
Well,
Trump
he
is
was
just
trained.
not even an appetizer.
Right, no.
He's just an aperitif or whatever.
Right.
He's just a palate cleanser.
Right, exactly.
The real guy is around somewhere.
Yes.
But he hadn't emerged yet.
No, and my bottom
I
line,
think we're 1928.
yes.
We're 1928.
Yes.
Once he had to collapse, then the demagogues.
Yep. And my basic feeling is, what I love about Trump is that he is the X-lax of the body politics, right? And
I think he's just exposing them for the frauds.
well,
they
he
are.
is the X-lax. He's exposed. He's dumping it out of the colon of the body politic, and then people are going to wake up one day with crap up to here, diarrhea, and you go, "What the heck is that?" And they'll see the laws floating by like toilet paper, and and they'll see that they've been sold down the river, and that's when Mike Pence becomes our president.
Welcome to Gilead.
And haven't you?
That's why when a
He
woman
looks
says-
just like that guy.
I say, get your bonnets.
Yes, exactly.
Amazon's got a special.
Yes.
Next day delivery.
Yeah. Not only, no, you don't even have to order. It's coming to your door.
Yeah. The hovercraft.
Right. It's just gonna. Right. But I didn't order that. Put it on. But I have a very important job. No, you do, honey. You don't have. The only job you have is to, service this man. And that
But
women.
the thing is, what Gilead, it's actually not quite I know it's portrayed as a dystopia, but it's actually a society that works.
Yes, but only for so long. See, that's the problem about that.
Nothing I've yet to even hear a design for something that works forever.
No.
Even when Jesus returned, it's
Right.
only 1,000 years before Satan is let loose again, right?
Bottom line, no.
So we don't have an
No.
example.
See, the thing that's going on that people don't realize is that, first of all, you know what the word Lord means?
Probably, maybe not. I can't recall it.
The Lord means Satan. When you take it all the way back, into Sumerian, right? God, Jad is, again, Satan. And Satan isn't a guy with hooves and a horn. He's a guy in a business suit, right? The only true word for God, or not, I hate using that word God because it means Satan, is Father.
Okay.
And that's why, our Father who art in heaven, that is the strongest, most powerful prayer on the face of the earth. If you ever get in trouble, you say that prayer and you're at least going to get out with your skin,
Yeah.
And so...
Well, that's the humanist versus the...
No, it isn't. The King James is like the Sears catalog of depravity. I'm not saying, a prime
What do
mover.
you mean? I'm not following. Go ahead, explain.
I'm not saying that a prime mover doesn't exist, that a thing that made the universe doesn't exist. I'm just saying it's not as what's advertised.
Okay.
And that we were talking about empires, you can't stay up and running more than 200 years, right? Pretty much everyone. The best one was Rome because they knew how to rebrand themselves. That's why they lasted almost 1,000 years, because they kept rebranding,
Well, I'd say the Roman Republic only lasted 200 years.
Well, the Republic did, but
I
then
mean,
they
Caesar,
became,
44 BC was the end of the Republic.
but they yes,
Then the empire fell in 410.
Right.
Well, Rome was sacked in 410. The Visigoths.
but it kept going. Then it was the Holy Roman Empire. Then it was this empire. Then it was that empire.
So the Byzantine one lasted
Right.
like 900 years.
But that's what I'm saying. They were rebranding. They understood rebranding. I mean, the same scum were the same guy. One day they're all pagan businessmen, and then they're bishops and cardinals.
But I found out that they fought better.
Right.
He promised someone that.
Yeah, eternal life,
Yes.
of course. I mean,
Much better.
that's the secret of Islam is because Islam
Second
is
of all the Abrahamic faiths.
right. I mean, Islam is the one that didn't work the best was Judaism because
They don't
it was
they're not supposed to evangelize.
right, and not only that, it was based on Moses, who was a real dick, you know, and so that was the real problem, and so everybody wanted to be a Moses, and so they were trying to be a real dick, and you can't. You know, if you want to have a really strong business plan where you got kick-ass guys kicking your ass, you got to have somebody like Jesus Christ as your spokesman, you know? So anyway, that's where we're at. We're at this very interesting tipping point. And the end of times ain't coming anytime soon, you know? Jesus is always here. I met a lot of them, meaning, guys who were as groovy, could heal, bring the dead back from. We're about there with transhumanism, AI and transhumanism. You got the money.
Yeah, but they're buying, and there's safe houses in New Zealand, and Peter Thiel and whatever buying these estates in New Zealand,
Yep.
buying these silos,
Yep.
converting them into these bunker things,
Right.
whatever.
Who would want to live in one of those?
But what I'm saying is that they're no longer even pretending to care about
Anybody.
or preserving
No,
civilization.
no.
They're just looking to ride it out.
Right. And you can't write it out underground.
Episode, I rewatched that again because it's so.
Which one?
I think it's prophetic.
They're all that was one of the best
But
shows.
that G1 episode with what's the guy? That French name, he played Odo. He plays an alien, one of the
Right.
lost things. They finally communicate with them, and they go there and they say, "We're under assault from these people. They live underground.
Right,
they got
right.
a fusion reactor.
Right,
They're out
right.
of heavy water." And they show them these things. They realize that they're all clones, and they
Oh yes, I
try
saw
to
that.
exterminate
Right.
the people, but they just keep breeding. We
Right,
can't kill them off or
right,
whatever like
right.
that. That's what they're in these bunkers.
Yes.
I think they're going to bring about a
Yes.
cataclysm and hope to ride it out.
Yep.
And then emerge. And
Yep.
it'll be in Eden, and they'll just.
And who the heck would want to be in a world where there were like 1,500 yous and me? It's like again, that same TV show where was it Ball? Who was the best bad guy they had who really looked good and had that little goatee beard? Ball.
He was cool.
And at the end, he when they like totally whack him and they're gonna kill him, he like runs away and he genetically engineers about 20 of him and no one can. But except if you look closely, the first clone is as smart as and good looking as this one, but as they went down, they got stupider and couldn't. It was like, I like that. Whoever wrote that stuff did a pretty good job.
Well, some real sci-fi broke through it. Watched it again, and it's I don't know.
But it's old. It's almost 30 years old.
I know, but TOS. I just went back and watched some TOS again. It holds up, my friend. It's brilliant. Because the thing
Which show? Which one?
TOS. I mean the original. It's just a shortcut for Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
The original Star Trek.
Right.
Kirk,
Oh, yes.
Spock,
Yes.
From the 60s.
Of course.
Holds up. They're morality plays.
Well, yeah, of course they are, and because Gene Roddenberry was hanging out with the guy who started what's that religion, the modern religion that all the movies, Dianetics, and he was also L. Ron Hubbard. The other guy who they were hanging out with, the guy who started JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, which is the guys who put us on the moon, and their big daddy was the guy who started the Church of Satan, Mr. He was English. Crowley. And that was Barbara Bush's biological father.
Yeah, I've heard some rumors about that.
You just got to check it out, and you can just see all the dots. It's like, yeah, that's that's where W came from. So all of this stuff, you couldn't write this stuff. It's great, So that's why I am basically hopeful, because we're still here. We're having this conversation, Eugene, meaning we have done so much stupid crap that we should be toast. So do you know all about all the eyes in the skies have gone blind? Meaning we have this thing called the Solar Observatory in California, and they closed it down for some. The FBI went in there and just closed it down, right?
I can't remember.
For about
a false alarm.
No, but they actually closed it down for a month, right?
Yeah.
Whatever excuse they gave was a false alarm, but it was closed for a month, right? Next thing, all of
Because they would have seen something that they didn't want to see.
and yes, some stuff is going on up there, and the Hubble has been taken down because they're gyroscopes.
It's only got 2 left.
Right, and the
Oh, they
other,
just rebooted it, I think.
and the other, yeah, but for a good 2 months, all of these eyes in the sky have been, blind. Something, and we just had a number of,
Well, there's a satellite that just sits there at L1 Lagrange and just looks at the Earth.
Right.
The fully lit Earth all the time.
Right.
That's all it does to monitor weather.
yeah, but to know what's going on over there, you'd have to turn it around, and the sensors are designed to do different things. Now, but the Hubble is one gigantic piece of glass that can see into the past, And then the Chandra that looks at our, it's a solar observatory. So you know why we have no ozone? It's not because of hairspray. It's that between 1948 and 1952, the hydrogen bombs in the troposphere, right? And Russia and the United States they knew they were going to have to cut above ground testing. So they were going to have who was going to have the biggest hydrogen bomb? And these two morons.
The Tsar bomb.
Right.
I saw this interview with this Russian guy. He said one of his friends slept outdoors, 500 miles away.
Right.
And it rained.
Right.
And the next day, all his hair is
Yes, exactly. Yes. But the United States and Russia detonated the 2 largest hydrogen bombs, within 20 minutes of each other. And it, screwed our whole solar system up and blew holes in the sun. And they did it on purpose because our solar system has been quarantined. We can't get out. But when
Voyager's almost out.
Right.
One of them.
Right, but it's still on the edge. It hasn't, right. But we have sent things through the sun because we blew holes through it, and they're like time tunnels.
All right.
I mean, this is all, you can, and what's beautiful about the internet is that, so you Google that, right? Blowing holes in the sun, time travel, blah, blah, blah. And you have guys with tin hats and little egg beaters on top talking about it. And then you'll have Nobel laureates saying the same thing in a less tin hat kind of way. But they're talking about that. What do you know about the internet going down a couple of days ago? The whole thing?
Nothing. Hadn't popped up on any. I don't.
None of your feeds.
No.
Well, a couple of my friends got
I noticed.
So you know that the people who started the internet was the Defense Department, DARPA, right? It was a communication tool that was meant to survive nuclear war, right? So all the scientists and the generals could talk to each other, right? And then they put porn on it, and that was that. It went off, it went monetized, right? Well, Bill Clinton and Al Gore / George W. / homeboy Obama basically sold the keys of the kingdom to a private corporation. Meaning instead of being held in the hands of a nonprofit, it took them 5 presidents to do this, but they did it, right? And Obama, this net neutrality thing was.
I don't know what to make of it. It's too much work to try to figure out what the truth is.
Anyway, so bottom line, why the internet went down for however long, because they didn't do it all at once. So they just unplugged the internet and everything went dark. It kind of chunks went out, and unless you really had a zillion screens and you were looking at, you couldn't see it. I have friends who do, and bottom line is they've changed all the access codes from what had first originally been set up back in the day and run under the nonprofit. So nobody can touch the internet except this corporation. It was supposed to be held in the moneyed guys and the nonprofit guys. And now the nonprofit guys, half of them are dead, and they have no access. So it's just the moneyed guys who have the access. And my sense is that at some point in the teetering thing, they're just going to unplug it. And everyone who's so addicted, it's junkies going cold turkey. And part of the thing they're going to say is, okay, because of all this craziness, we are taking over. Just like in the island capital, and we're going to re-engineer everything. And Now you're going to get a new, Amazon drone is going to deliver your new smartphone that will be connected to your brain. And you will really be smart now, and you'll be sexy. You get laid because you won't know whether Marilyn Monroe's having sex with you or a doorknob, and everyone will be happy.
All right, I think we're headed to well, like I said, they're called these dystopias. But I have to ask someone, and it's like you get strange looks because most people can't free their mind.
They can't have a conversation like this.
They can't open their mind enough.
Right.
But look at Gilead. I'm saying it's not a dystopia.
Unless you have to wear the hood and the housewife is holding your arms while her husband is stripping you.
Only a tiny fraction of people were still fertile and stuck in that.
Right.
The women were running the place.
Yes. Yes.
Women empower.
Yes, 100%. But that's what fascism is. Meaning, the guys who were running the death camps were the Anunnaki. The guys who are now the, who's the political power of Israel?
Netanyahu.
Yeah, but what's their political name? They're called Zionists.
Oh, okay.
That's the Anunnaki. And they were the Aryans that the Nazis were looking for.
Yeah.
They weren't part of the 12 tribes. They were the 13th.
Well, I've read that.
Right.
But you can't get an honest conversation about that. That's the thing. When I want to explore that, launch my VPN. I've done a total. I put on the foil thing, blocking all the lights, tape the windows.
Well, you can always have that conversation with me because I can talk about anything, and I don't judge anybody.
Yeah.
I do not have a prejudiced point of view. I want to hear your point of view, and that's why
I think we're going to Brave New World.
We could.
They're going to legalize pot.
Or a substance.
Because alcohol serves the empire, because alcohol makes people violent.
Right.
They feel bonded, men feel bonded, and makes them
makes them good soldiers. Put them, go conquer.
But now they realize that the problem's internal and external. We've got to tamp down this
Right.
And so I think they're going to get you pot magically.
Dusted with something that turns everyone into a transsexual.
From Brave New World.
Yep.
And the beautiful thing about Brave New World is how they condition people to want to be at their level.
Mm-hmm.
The Gamma didn't want to be a beta.
No.
The beta didn't want to be an
No,
alpha.
of course.
It was beautiful.
Id you ever own a dog?
Yeah.
The dog never wants to be the alpha dog. The dog wants you to. Right. It wants.
Unless it's a wolf.
Now, even a wolf.
That's why
Did you see the movie Alpha? It's where it's caveman days.
No.
It's where the first dog comes.
I didn't see it.
It's a great film.
Okay.
Go rent it. Wait till they bring it in.
You see these people on the Greenway with these misbehaving things. These women don't understand. They make their dogs neurotic. The dog's not your friend.
No.
He insists
Right.
on having a pack leader.
Right.
And if you're not it, he's going to think he's it.
Right. And then start.
But he's going to be neurotic.
Right. And nuts.
Right.
Beyond.
Hyper-aggression.
Right.
Disobedient.
Right.
He wants a firm hand.
Right.
To be happy, he needs a firm hand.
Right. The thing is not to be cruel. Just to, meaning what
discipline.
Not even discipline. Just tell the dog what their job is.
Right.
And they're all bred for a job. You give them that job, they're happier than a clam.
They need discipline, affection, and exercise.
Right. That's it. And discipline in not like but being just about what their job is.
The sad thing is, it's the same thing with kids.
Right, of course.
If kids see that you're not obeying the rules that you espouse,
right.
they think you don't care.
Right, exactly.
And appropriately infer that you don't care.
Right.
You must not care.
Yep, exactly. And then you add one of these suckers into it. I mean, back in the day when my business took me around.
The suicide rate with youth, boys, it's gone up 75% in the past 10 years.
Yes, because of these. Yes.
I've been launched in 2008.
Yep.
Yes. I mean, 2007.
So I was in a Kroger's this morning, right? And I mean, I just got here from being out in the woods yesterday. And so I went and bought, I have very limited money. So I just bought, and this is what everyone should do. I just buy the food I'm going to eat today, right? And I cook it and I have a great meal. And then, so I'm in there and the bagger is, what you call a special person.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm starting to get pissed about these people. They're fucking with my shit. They're fucking up my baggie.
But the bottom line is you have to be, it's like the dog, right? This guy was exactly doing, he was like sticking baby cans on top of my eggs, right? And I
That's
said,
what I'm talking about.
right, and I said, buddy, buddy, buddy. And he was getting angry. I said, this is how you do it. And he goes, oh, yeah. And I said, the thing we need to do is you have to put it in 2 plastic bags because those are heavy cans, and you have to tie the inside bag together so when I'm moving it, the stuff doesn't fall out of the car, right? Once I explained it to him, he did a perfect job, right? So anyway, we're going out, and the guy who's in charge of the robot cashiers starts giving him a hard time for being stupid, you know? And he's a big bully. I mean, so none of the other cashiers,
Didn't train him.
right? And where I trained him in like less than 20 seconds, he's going to do that from now on. And I said, you have to put the eggs all by themselves.
Right.
You put all the dairy, the cheese, the butter, all by itself. And no one's told him this.
Wow.
Now he knows, right?
Yeah.
And as we're walking, he goes, thank you for telling me. Now I know. It was like the best day of his life that someone told him that you don't, eggs have to go in their own bag. Anyway, so the guy's going on about how stupid he is. And you can, as we closer we get to this guy, he's like this. So I'm in my little motorized buggy.
Yeah.
So I run
Ran right
into him and pinned him against the machine. And I almost got out and grabbed him by the neck, but I wasn't feeling good enough to do it. I said, listen, buddy, I'm going to take your knees off right here, I said, let me see your palm. And you've seen me do that, right? And virtually 99.9% when I say, let me see your palm, they'll do it, People, one in a zillion go, I'm not going to do that. Well, this guy does it. And I read him like a book. And bullies have thin skin.
Right.
So I go straight to those things. And I said, you want me to grab this microphone and tell the whole Kroger's your issues? Do not ever, ever pick on this kid or I'm coming back. And the lady who was just checking me out, I look back at her and she's like, she doesn't do this, but she's smiling and going like this, right? And I said, I'll be watching. I kind of wrote out. And the special guy was still going on about what a great day it was that I showed him how to put eggs in a bag. They need management.
Certain things have to be laid like this.
Right.
Like hummus will flow.
Right.
And I go back and I'm home. And
Right.
They put
Sideways.
sideways
Yeah.
so that,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying?
Right. Of course. But no one's told them that.
Apparently.
I told the guy, and he's going to do it right from that point on.
I think they're just trying to steer people to go to the self-checkout.
Yes, that's what they're
As
doing.
opposed to letting one of these guys screw it up.
That's what they're doing. Plus, they're getting money,
Well, fine,
sideways.
I'll get I'll just go to Aldi.
Right,
If
no.
I'm going to have to do it myself,
Right.
I might as well pay less and go to Aldi.
Right. But the other side of the coin is there's a Kroger's, I don't know which one it is, but they're about to go 100% robot. Even stacking the things, because I saw them putting the little tape on the
So the machines can follow it. Yeah.
yeah. So
I love Amazon's trying to only in upscale places where it's cameras. So you don't have to check out anything. It
Right.
sees you pick up
yeah,
the
yep,
shelf,
yep,
and you just put
yep,
bag and
yep,
walk
yep.
out
And
start
it knows
your
your face.
account.
You've already signed
Yeah.
up. Yes. But that's a bit Brave New World too, so or 1984. But it's already 19. I mean, those TV sets are cameras. Every smart TV has a little camera.
Oh, you think so?
No, I don't think so. I know so. That's the difference between just a regular TV and a smart television. If they advertise it as a smart TV, it's got a camera.
Yeah, I don't have a smart one.
Right. But because it's supposed to be interactive. Meaning,
One of them admitted that the
yes,
sensor was listening and
yes.
I can't remember which one it was.
Well, Alphabet's, smart
Google,
speaker, their thing was listening all the time.
Yeah.
And,
Well, like Vern has Alexa in his house. It's kind of cool though.
right.
I mean, just to say,
Again-
Alexa, play the Baldy.
Right, yes.
It's nice.
It is nice, but it's also like, writing everything down, So,
But I'm telling you, when you experience something that pleasurable, you're saying, I'm fully trained.
I do it.
Uh,
Meaning that my phone here is like, it does things that I've never seen. Like my phone not only tells me who's calling, but if somebody's blocked it, it tells me the blocked phone number. Not supposed to be, I get everybody,
okay.
And other strange things that it's, it's like I have the AI on my side, or they're getting ready to, and if you're listening, I'm ready to go back to work. I need a salary, I need health care,
Yeah.
I will be your best front guy you've ever
Well, I
had.
think we're about to enter a new age. It's like if I go, if I'm depending on where I'm going,
Right.
220 sometimes is a mess.
Oh.
And it would be cool if I could just get in and tell the car would sync to the speakers. I would say I'm headed to
Right,
River's Edge,
right,
Greenway.
right.
And it would say 220 backed up, don't take that, take Grand Runner.
Forget that. Whatchamacallit, Uber is going to have flying cars in 4 years. I mean, they already have it. They're just having to deal with the FAA. It's basically a gigantic drone with a chair in it. And the other thing they're going for, meaning they have the batteries that will, give the motor. The motor's got enough juice. It's the battery issue. But they're saying, in 5 years we'll have batteries that will. Don't worry about it. 20 years.
Yes. 40.
But they'll make it a hybrid. They'll make it a hybrid.
We're just dealing with the physics and chemistry.
Right, but the bottom line is that's what whatchamacallit is. 5G will be
I don't.
the mechanism that will
Here's my little rant about 5G.
will be
I
a-
want my phones to not drop around the corner of 220 buck mountain. How about that?
Do you want your brain to be microwaved? That's the choice.
It's still,
Because for that to work, they're going to have to put an antenna on virtually every
Yeah.
telephone pole.
right.
Because the bandwidth is going to be so wide, frequency so high.
Yeah, but the
And-
penetration is so, and it just, as you know, the higher the frequency, the less the penetration.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So they'll have to up the juice.
When I stop having calls dropped,
Right.
then call me. I mean, make the 4G work first.
Right.
So I don't get all these.
Right.
So I don't, maybe this is just for, that's the thing, dude. One of my little insights is that the geography shapes so much
Yes.
of culture.
Yes.
And if you grow up in Southern California, where it's all flat, it's 72 degrees every day.
Right.
You don't, yeah.
You don't have to worry. Right. That's why.
You live in the hollows and
right.
the gullies and whatever.
Where I
and
am,
spotty things.
I have to drive 24 miles
It's a
to make a
different
phone
world.
call.
And these fancy things that they dream of don't work.
Not right. That 5G will never be out there because they don't even have, where I live, they don't even have cell towers because everyone's dirt poor and the corporations say, why should we do that? I mean, and the roads aren't interstates, they're county roads. They're not even state roads, they're county roads. So, they're not even paved. The roads around me are just, crushed
Here's
stone.
what could work for areas like yours, potentially. The winds are up higher.
Right.
Have this tether thing with this
Yes.
inflatable
Yes,
wind
balloons.
turbine.
Yeah.
It'll go up however many feet you need
Right,
to go,
right,
1,000 feet, whatever.
right.
It's got obviously got the energy, so
Right.
let's have a cell tower
Right.
antenna thing up
Oh,
there.
and they will have that. I mean, they've got them designed.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, they had them
When is there
designed.
enough money to get out of those people? that
That's
it's
the
worth it?
thing. That's why it
And it's
never
probably
beat. It
not.
never.
Yeah.
They don't have cable TV, and that's why it's unbelievably beautiful in these spots. And rich people go, wow, I can buy this for nothing. They buy 100 acres and they're going to build a gated community. And then when they start setting it up, they realize they couldn't sell a square foot of it because there's nothing. Meaning they're 50 miles the closest Walmarts. No one gets a cell signal, even if you got a great phone. And there's no cable TV.
Yeah.
And because it's sawtooth mountains, you can't even have satellites.
Because they're too high. You can't
Right.
get a.
Yes, unless you're
You
in
gotta
the,
point to the southwest sky.
right. So yes, and it's satellites aren't this.
Oh, but
They're
Elon's got a
this.
plan for that.
What's?
They've already started launching them.
Oh yeah,
It's going to require, I think, 5,000 satellites, low Earth orbit satellites,
Right.
5,000
Right.
of them, a network of them, to bring high-speed internet to the world.
right. But
That's the only way to.
The Air Force.
'cause then you won't have to aim
Right,
so
right.
low in the thing; it'll be
Right,
overhead.
right. Well, the Air Force did the same thing. In the 60s, they were using Atlas Aegina's to set up, satellites that were 4 times bigger as the Crawford Cup, for exactly that, communications. And because they were at such low Earth orbit, they would decay within a year. But if you're going to have a war in a certain once you just shoot up 500 of these things, so everybody and his brother can get communications, even
Well,
if
I
it's
just
one
God
guy.
they've already planned it because the Chinese are going to blind the whole GPS. If it comes to
Right,
shooting war,
right.
they're going to blind.
But it's not going to
the,
be a shooting war, because the real problem about China is that Nixon and Kissinger hooked them, and so they have lost. I mean, they're a culture of long march, right? But they're so caught up,
leadership has adopted our banking system.
right, and everything.
Forget 1929.
Right.
They're going to go down.
Oh.
They're going to have not only a stock market
Right,
crash,
right.
but a real estate crash at the
Right.
same time.
Everything.
At least ours happened.
Right.
We're connected.
Right.
Their whole thing's going to.
it's
the Chinese, the wealthy ones, are getting their money
Right.
out as fast
as they can. But the real problem about them, see, the real
They're already having re-education centers.
Right.
Otherwise, concentration camps.
Right.
Ogres or whatever.
right. And that's
I'm
the
waiting
problem.
for smokes to start coming out.
They
and then
have
you're gonna realize that they're burning.
500 different racial groups that have been there for over 1,200 years, and those animosities. Where in America, our animosities aren't. They're like maybe 3 weeks. And you can get over that, right? And pretty much, it's like the guys I live near. When I have this, and I have these kind of conversations with those folks, they realize, they don't even go at, oh, it's the Mexicans taking my job. I said, no, they look around, there are no Mexicans there,
Yeah.
So they understand that it's the transnational bank, because what was sad about especially in Tennessee, that 200 square miles, everyone made a nice living because the ground was unbelievably fertile.
Yeah.
And they were the vegetable capital, and their location, they were close enough to, one day's truck drive to Chicago or New York or Philly, they could get their vegetables to a good market. Well, in the 70s, they replaced all of that with Christmas trees and feed corn. Two things that humans don't eat, so they can spray the crap out of them. And by doing that, they've destroyed the soil.
Oh, wow.
It's like
Over in
concrete.
the South, everyone, a bunch of the middle class people, not the big money people, everyone at the same time thought they were going to get rich by planting yellow pines. And now it's 20 years later, now it's all ready for harvest. And 20 years later, and the market's collapsed because they all had the same idea at the same time. And the mills can't even say, no, I don't want any yellow pine. We got more than we can even handle.
So back in the day, in the 60s and 70s, that holler, even those people were still as poor as they are today, they were healthy because they were growing their own food.
Right.
And now they're eating processed food from their food stamps. So but it's amazing to see this lady next to me, not next to me, she's 6 miles away, but I fixed her washer in August. And because my ulterior motive was I wanted to do my laundry, instead of, she's 6 miles away where, the other place is 30 miles and cost me, anyway. So I went there and I have a little garden. And so I brought a bunch of vegetables and I made a really beautiful stew, And her son, who's a hunter, and so she had, and she doesn't even cook the meat he brings her. She just freezes it.
Okay.
And she'd rather eat the potato chips, So I make this really amazing stew, right? And so grandma and their daughters, who have three daughters, and what's really sick is this family, there are about 15 women and 2 boys. And those 2 boys are going to be the next Charlie Mansons, because these girls pick on them, because all those girls have had bad relationships with guys, and these poor little boys are getting the brunt of it all. Anyway, so I make this great meal for these guys, right? And I get grandma to bake bread.
What type of meat did you use? Venison or?
A venison, yeah. Deer. Anyway, so I thought it was deer. It was, a shank, but it was something got out in the forest. Anyway, so I make this great meal, and the girls who are like the third, not grandma, not great grandma, not grandma, but the girls who are in their like 19 to 25 who have little ones, they'll not eat that stuff. So I gave this stuff to the little ones, and they ate it like, this was nirvana. Whereas the girls who were in their 19 to 25, they still wanted the potato chips, and their mothers wanted the potato chips. And it was just so sad to watch this. But this girl is eating it with her, I put it in a bowl, gave her a spoon, she dumps it on the table and just starts eating. She couldn't get enough of it. And she goes, "What do you call this?" And I say, "Vegetables." "What are those?" Just like, this is So I'm out in the middle of nowhere, yet I am getting a mirror image of what's going on in our culture. It's happening across the board,
Yeah.
not
Well, that's
just
the thing, I
here.
find people that have lived, people like live in the rural areas, they're more dependent on modern things than
Yes.
people who live in something like, what's the point of living out there?
Right.
If you have none of the, you don't have a well, you don't have a spring,
Right.
you don't have soul.
Right.
It's like, what? You know, like my friends who live in near the lake. It's like their power goes out, their water goes out. They're like, well, you don't
Right.
have nothing.
Right.
So apparently, just these rich, they just like the notion of living out there, but not really.
So the county has gotten water to these hollers, but it's totally polluted. Now, in those same hollers, those people used to have springs,
Yeah.
and they got rid of the county said, can't use your spring. It's deadly, right?
Yeah.
Well, up top of a hill, there's an unbelievable spring. I mean, it's on top of mountains. That water is purer than pure. So I bought myself like 7 miles of PVC pipe, and now I only used it, spring, summer, and fall. I always went to Florida, but now that I'm living up there, so we had snow and ice on top of the mountain I live on up there, and that's when I said, "Oh man," because my little PVC pipe was froze.
Gotcha.
So, but I have a toilet, I have a septic, I have my water, and that is the best. And I'm camping,
Okay.
and I have photo cells, and I have a bunch of neighbors who are not from there. They're basically military people. A lot of military people have come there because this is one of the most,
Living slow. No.
I don't know, most survivable.
Oh, okay.
No one's coming here. When the cities crash, no one's coming to this place. There are no roads that go there. You got to have a highway for the Walking Dead to get there. So, and it's a lot like this. It's pretty tiring for the Walking Dead to go up and down and up and down. And most of there's this gigantic lake that I live close to, and all the people I know, they don't even have cars because there's no road to their place. They take a boat to where there's a marina, where they have their car and they go into town, and so it's a very, very survivable place. And everyone's got a gun. And like I said, the majority of the people know what's going on. The only people who don't are these matriarchal families where the guys have either left or died or in jail, and they've totally, for the last 30 years, been dependent on the Great Society. So they have no gumption, no education, no nothing.
Yeah.
And the more they had sex and got kids, the more money they got.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't
I mean,
exist.
you've lived through that. I mean,
Yeah.
was anyone saying that this is the consequences of this? Like, oh yeah,
What time is it?
3:52.
Well, that was another fun conversation.
Yeah. All right, man. Enjoy it.
Oh, he's.
I just flu season.
Oh. Didn't you get your shot?
I haven't gotten it. If I ever get the flu, I'll get the shot, but I haven't gotten the flu. And
Well, last winter I had that infection in my leg and I ended up in the emergency room, and it was like something out of a pestilence movie. I mean, it was right at the height.
oh yeah, you said those. People in the hall.
Yeah. It was, and so I said, well, I'll try it out because my doctor. So I came back here to get my eyes operated, my feet worked on, see my doctor, and she's always, you're like almost 70. You need to get a flu shot. You need to. And I said, okay. You talk me into it. I'll go for it. And I said, but if I get sick, I'm coming to, sneeze in your face.
Yeah. If I ever get it, I'll start getting them. But so far, so good.
Right. Well, the thing that always kept me from getting the flu, washing my hands. Okay, kids, what'd you think of all that? Oh, not even an hour. Let's see. Well, okay, it's like, I don't know what time it is, 4 something, and I'm going back up to the school, and I'm going to cook Johnny a meal. So have you kids went and seen his I Am a Woman video where he's Jimmy? I want to take him across America as Jimmy in the I Am a Woman motif. Drive from here in Virginia all the way to Texas and LA, and have him, stop, just like we're doing a road trip, and stopping in Denny's and in the motel and the whole thing, right? So if we can do that, that should be truly, truly, truly interesting. So guys, my name is OWL. My mother and father named me Aldolfo, calling and my grandmother called me Woodsy Owl, which meant little devil, Woodsy Owl. So, yeah, if you can't get it through your frontal lobes that my name is OWL, okay. I'm not, set in stone. And, I've lived with over 15 different indigenous people. I've lived in Brazil with 3 tribal people where I was the first white guy they ever saw, And and when you join the tribe, when they invite you in, they give you a full name. And every one of the tribes I've lived with named me Owl. And 3 of those tribes didn't have owls in their lexicon, and I didn't tell them. So anyway, that's why I'm somewhat, endeared to the my name as Sensei Al Bob. And all a sensei is a teacher. It's no big deal. Let's see. Yeah, here I am. So this is my favorite library where I used to spend the days when I was really sick. And I'm only 5 miles from the school. And I would just kind of rattle down the hill and come in here and have a coffee. They have a very nice coffee shop. And I'd have conversations with guys like Eugene. There were a lot of old guys here, but most of them have died. So Eugene's the last of the old timers. So anyway, I'm going to try and go online and do a live chat where I'm going to tell you a story of the connective tissue of the old crone, time travel, and artificial intelligence. They're all connected. Right? So, if you like the old crone story, you might tell John, hey, John, give Al some money because, that old crone story has hit almost 100,000, and I know, and he gets paid for X amount of people watching his thing. So I know that's worth something more than $1.50. So you might tell him to be nicer to me, because we do he really wants me to take him to Texas to see his boys and then go to Hollywood and become movie stars. I think we can just go to, what's the hipster town in Texas? Augustine? No, it sounds like that. But they have a movie industry. How do you like my new look? I kind of trimmed down. Usually this is my spring haircut, but I was out there in the woods since May, and I got pretty raggedy. I still keep this long because that's part of my charm. I love that word, dapper. Anyway, so come take a look at around 7:30, 8 o'clock. Okay, so I'll see what I can get stirring. And if John comes on, the thing about John is he doesn't like it when he wants to do all the videos from his camera of me so he can edit them and manipulate the story and the picture and the image. But he does a good job, so I don't beguile him that. But we did a video, I think it would go back where I was Elvis, and he hasn't edited that because he goes, why should I do it? If you're going to put a live chat up there, and I always say things that people get mad at, and blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, John, this should be a good lesson for you not to say things that, annoy people and upset people. Be your the better self. Like, if you go look at that Jimmy, it's like, It is mind freaking boggling. I have a friend who's a shrink who he was like, do I need to come there with a butterfly net and the boys in the white jackets? And John doesn't need that because he's actually being, and that's what people miss about John is I keep saying he is the canary in the social coal mine. When he does things like that, he is reflecting what's going on in the world. Just like my little conversation with Eugene here was a reflection. Okay, we're 59 minutes and 47 seconds. So at 60 minutes and 59 seconds, I'm going to say, I love you all. And, but, keep watching, get more people, spread the word, get Sensei Al Bob ubiquitous, Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob, contact me at my The Dude Awake 42 at Gmail and go read my blog, which is EXRATTED xrated.blogspot.com. I love you all. And I haven't really been reading your because I can hardly see it, Like this morning, I guess I'm gonna run over here. So I'm up at the school, and John gets everything delivered to him via, Amazon, and so he got delivered, cinder blocks in a cardboard box. So the whole floor where I have to walk past to go to the kitchen or the bathroom was full of empty cardboard boxes. And right in the middle of the floor, he left this cardboard box kind of so I couldn't see what was in it with, 400 pounds of whatever the heck that was, some kind of building material. And, my blind eyes kind of looked at the floor and said, oh, these are just empty cardboard boxes. I'll kick it out of the way. So I didn't kick it, but I went to move it and I tripped over it. And that floor is, if you look at John's little Better Home and Gardens tour of the house, the floors are concrete. So I flew through the air, just physics of like, how much space you're going that way and how much you weigh and gravity. And I was heading straight, not only towards the concrete floor, but the open staircase. So I was like an Olympian. I twisted my body in the opposite direction. So instead of gravity taking me down the staircase, I went the other way. And because I was twirling through the air, I hit the concrete floor, not crash. I mean, I did go crash. I mean, loud enough for John upstairs to hear the crash sound. And, but I rolled. So the mass of the energy of that crash wasn't, transmitted to my hip. It was transmitted to the roll. And instead of rolling down the staircase and dying, I rolled the other way towards the kitchen and got sore, right? And I stayed there for like a minute, like checking myself out, going, And I went into meditative state, and I kind of looked at, I was doing a x-ray of my hips, and I could see the fascia was a little upset, but my bones weren't broke. So as I am getting up slowly, John goes, what did you break of mine? What did you, he starts blaming me. Whereas this guy left, like a landmine for me to die. Meaning if it was anyone other than me, I would have been dead because I would have gone right down the staircase. And he had zero empathy. And it wasn't until, I said, well, why don't you get out your phone and videotape me almost dead? Oh, no, you'll sue me, All he could think about was how I could sue him, And this is where we're at. So this John is the, mirror, the canary in the coal mine. He's not an evil guy. He's not a bad guy. He's none of the above. He is actually a sweet guy, And I've stuck by him for the last 2 years because I'm not trying to do the same thing over and over again. I'm like trying to plumb his depths to see what thing would be the snap of the fingers to get him out of this. But it took him 40 years to get there, so it's not going to. And he's a Libra, which means he can tip either way. If he was any other kind of, settled sign or a air sign that he could float over this, he'd be a lot better. But Majority of John Birmingham is a good guy, nice guy, sweet guy. He just can't empathize, and that equals But he's not a sociopath because that's only part of him, not his whole thing. Anyway, so if we could do a road trip, that would be amazing. That would be so much fun. That would be, YouTube gold. And every time he turns on the camera, I'm turning mine on. If you don't like it, well then, hey, then I won't. He can't. No one's watching his stuff. Not like they were watching me. But he got upset. He did this Jimmy thing, which I think is brilliant. He's going to be like Jerry Lewis. The French think Jerry Lewis was a comedic genius. I think John's a comedic genius because when he does these skits, he is sincere. That's where he's coming from. Sincerity. And all of his angst and anxiety and everything is wrapped up in these characters, and so that they come off as truly amazing. But most people, again, are reflecting that canary in the coal mine in that, either they get anxious because it reminds them that they're them, or why is he doing this stupid crap? And it's not. It's real. And that's why I keep coming back to John. I mean, I basically spent the whole, from May until last night, I have only spent 30-something evenings in my commemorative bedroom there. So, anyway. Let's see, 1 hour and 6 minutes and 11 seconds. So I guess this is as good a time to say I love you guys and look for me in the East sometime between 7:30 and 8 p.m. tonight. And I'm going to give you the story of the connection of the old crone, artificial intelligence, Nazis, CIA, and extraterrestrials. They all go together. And the foundation block is Madame Oberkruger. I love you guys. Look at that view. Look at that view. That's my library.